Oh boy, Aaron Rodgers did not look the same. He does not look the same. And he left with an oblique injury, and Jordan Love went in. And like that throw for that long touchdown to Christian Watson was not an amazing throw, but it was on time and it looked nice. He looked comfortable back there. And the clock is ticking on the Packers. They have to pick up his fifth year option next year, Jordan Love. Then after the fifth year option, then he just hits free agency unless they tag him. But
And
the tag's going to be very
this is
high.
another predicament, right? That the young guy that they ostensibly drafted to be, Rodgers' heir is now ultimately coming to the point where they are going to have to make a decision on him as well.
And how cyclical, right, is life sometimes? Because this is a very similar situation to what they were in
with Rodgers and
with
Favre.
Aaron Rodgers and
Yeah.
Favre. And Favre was also toying with the media about when to retire. Like Rodgers is not as bad as Favre because Favre was like, I'm retiring, then I'm unretiring, then I'm retiring, then I'm unretiring. And he was amazingly selfish, over the top selfish with the organization. But Rodgers is like maybe learned a few more lessons than he'd care to admit from the way Favre conducted himself. I mean, just put the dude on IR already. If he has this oblique injury, he has this thumb injury. The thumb thing has been real. This doesn't necessarily feel like Russell Wilson, who was like, oh, my hamstring, oh, my shoulder, it just stuff that was documented but did not seem to be hampering him during the game. And then, of course, press releases go out to the insiders and you make it known. Like, they're making it known now, weeks in, because I think they're trying to grease the runway for this to actually happen, for them to put him on IR since the Packers are not making the playoffs. And, I just, I wonder if it is just the thumb, and because him having two back-to-back MVP seasons and then playing this badly, the thumb thing is real, and he's just making it worse every week by throwing with that thumb, which you really need to spin the ball. Like they look like ducks coming out of his hand. It is one of the weirdest experiences to see the guy who can throw spirals so effortlessly fall off this hard. And
you're saying this about a day where honestly, like I thought the Packers offense looked like the most like functional it's looked all season.
But that's because once they went down that far. I mean, he did have some throws where it didn't look terrible, where maybe he was able to get a grip with his thumb.
But also, his
lot
receivers were
looked,
catching the balls, too,
yes,
which I think
and
was
then they just
important
rely
also.
so much on the run game.
Right. Is that
so
Dylan had a
much
good
on the
touchdown run.
game.
Aaron Jones had a really phenomenal run on the outside, a route on the outside that he caught in the end zone. But you're right, for sure. Like they rely really quite heavily on those two backs to generate offense when there's nothing seems to be getting going anywhere with the receivers. And I mean, you saw Jordan Love make a good good looking pass, a long range pass to Christian Watson going into the end zone. I mean, that was, I have to imagine, pretty encouraging, because in the game that he started for Rodgers, when Rodgers was suspended for the vaccine chicanery that he had participated in, Love looked absolutely terrible.
Not suspended, but he had
COVID.
He had COVID.
He actually. Oh, sorry. The timeline is he lied about being inoculated.
Yeah,
from COVID,
immunized.
but then immunized from COVID, but then actually got COVID.
That's the only reason we found out.
Right. Okay. I see.
Because the isolation period,
right,
per the NFLPA, was shorter. That's how you could figure out if someone was vaccinated, essentially.
I see. So that game he missed, I was like, oh my gosh.
He was out for 10 days.
I was like, this
as
guy,
opposed to the 5 that was
right,
allocated to the people
right,
who were vaccinated.
I was like, boy, this guy does not look like he can really succeed as
Jordan Love.
as the Packers' next quarterback. But that was a decent showing for some mop up duty basically. But I see what you mean in the sense of it's hard to remember sometimes, given the fact that seems like I say this every week, but the guy won 2 back-to-back MVPs before this season. But he's 39 years old.
Yeah.
The age comes for everybody. And not everybody is going to be able to be LeBron James, be Tom Brady. Some people just act at some point your body cannot withstand what you have to put it through to be an NFL quarterback.
And
He's going
Rodgers
to be
was
40
always
next year.
more reliant on his athletic ability than Tom Brady.
100%.
People forget Aaron Rodgers, very good athlete. I saw his like some side profile of him with his helmet on, and I was like, whoa, he looks old. Like it was just jarring, and there's no knock on him, right? It's just surprising when you see that, and he's not Botoxed up like Brady, so it shows a little bit more. But it's sad for me
He
to.
wouldn't put that stuff in his body.
Oh my God,
Yeah,
it's
that's
unnatural.
It's unnatural. Wouldn't
His witch girlfriend says it's the
do that.
devil's juice.
Yeah.
But like I just it's hard for people have if you've been watching or listening to the show understand like it's difficult for me to break up with Aaron Rodgers, my favorite player of all time outside of anyone on the Giants, in the sense that I still feel like he'll always be underrated throughout his career in terms of what he achieved, but he's going out sad right now, and the one reason I think he might not retire, I saw this written PFT. If he retires and Brady retires this year, you know that they'll be in the same Hall of Fame class.
Yeah, wow. That's wild.
So he might want to
Rodgers like,
go one extra year.
I want to share that line.
But that provides a lot of problems for Green Bay with the Jordan Love situation, because then what do you do? What do you do if you pick up that fifth year option? Then he's a free agent, and you go into the season. Aaron Rodgers played one more year, retired, but you say you sign Jordan Love. Why would he even want to sign there? Well, I guess he'd know the situation, he'd be able to take over. But
and like I was saying before, you go into the season thinking that this was going to be so much more of a seamless succession pattern, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now you're going to have to go in to another contract negotiation essentially for this guy that you basically picked kind of prematurely, almost to like preempt a Rodgers exit. And now that person is going to be in line to either, like you said, get franchised or sign somewhere else. And it's just that, speaking of, future outlooks, that's tough. That's not a barrel I'd like to be looking down if I'm the Packers or a Packers fan.
Yeah.
Rodgers being injured, the wide receiver core, while, of course, I mean, Dobbs and Christian Watson have definitely made some improvements. They're rookies.
Mm-hmm.
Randall Cobb and Alan Lazard are not getting any younger. No Marcus Valdez-Scantling anymore. No Devontae Adams. This. You have Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon, one of the most potent running back duos for sure, but the defense has not looked nearly as good or nearly as touted as it was coming into the season. There are some real question marks around the team, and some real checks that are going to have to be paid.
And it's not the most talented roster in the world either.
No.
Like, I mean, that's also what we've been saying.
And it's about, especially for teams like this with these types of expectations, you have to. It's not just a matter sometimes of being competitive. It's a matter of wanting to be competitive with like the Chiefs or the Bills
and being
or
efficient
the Eagles
and essentially being smarter is not going to do it. This is about athletic ability, and right now the Packers just do not have the guys.